So one of the Minnesota Wild players, he's making his NHL debut the other day, and the car breaks down, stuck in traffic. Guy gets out of the car, gets his gear on over the shoulder, and he's walking down the road in this massive blizzard, walking towards the the XL Energy Center for his NHL debut with the Wild. What a legend!
You know what? It was funny. I saw that video, and at first I was like, I didn't think anything was strange about that. Then I'm like, oh, well, it's kind of a bigger deal since they're, pro. But I remember doing that in minor hockey. If we had a long bus ride and we were heading straight from our place of origin to the rink, they dropped us off probably about 1 to 2 kilometers away from the rink just to shake out the bus legs. And the odd time we'd have to take our gear, the odd time they, depending on how cold it was, but walking to the rink for the last kilometer or so, nothing wrong with that. Get a little bit of that cold air in your lungs, freshen up a little bit. You're awake once you get there. You're happy to be in a warm spot. You're happy to get going. You're all fired up. No, I think that's great. I think more teams should do that. All right, go walk the last half kilometer. Let's get the legs going.
Imagine the Nashville Predators come to town in Winnipeg. They drop the guys off the Fairmount, Winnipeg, and say, "Good luck. You can walk the MTS Center from here."
I remember Sidney Crosby saying that he didn't take the Skywalk on the way over to Canada Life Center, that he'd walk outside because, especially in the fall, because you would get a little bite of winter. And he said it reminded of him home a little bit, especially when they're down on the southern swing. You want to take in those opportunities when you can. So I don't think it's a bad thing. It's hockey, man. Hockey is a winter sport. You should be dealing with winter. I know it's nice walking out of the rink in Florida and LA and Vegas and all these places, walking out in your shorts, but hockey's a winter sport. You got to embrace that.
How did he get there, though? Because you can't walk outside past Portage, Maine. You got to go underground to get up above.
Nah, you can sneak around. There's a few other side streets and whatnot. You don't have to walk across Portage and Maine. You can go down to, St. Mary's or York, and there's a bunch of different streets you can take. He's a pretty crafty guy. He gets to the net in a bunch of different ways. I'm pretty sure he can get across the street.
That's a Canadian boy right there.
Oh, 100%. And you know what? Hey, Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia, that's one thing about living out on the East Coast is it's not necessarily the cold, it's the humidity and the wind. You cannot put on enough clothes to stay warm in those areas. That's one thing I will say about Winnipeg. We have a dry cold. You can wrap up warm even when it gets down to like minus 25, minus 30. At least you can put on enough clothes that you can be outside. I'll walk my St. Bernard for hours as long as I'm wrapped up cold. But when that wind comes off water, that makes a huge difference. Huge difference. And it may only get down to minus 10 in Nova Scotia. I'll take minus 35 in Winnipeg over minus 10 in Nova Scotia any day. Hey, more hockey content. It might be old. It might be new. It might be a full episode. It might be a half episode. But you can click these boxes because who doesn't like clicking boxes?